Dear Sean, I don't know if we'll ever talk again, so I'd like to thank you for that interview. And by the way, how's your ankle? You just won your last fight and you couldn't even walk. You beat Andre Tukhugov, and that ain't no walk in the park. And now you got the world behind you, but they don't like you like I like you. They don't give you credit, they think you won cause Andre's IQ. And low key, I'm hyped for Sugar Show OG. You got your own strain, that's dope, I need me a OZ. See, you gave me an interview and no one knows me. And that's why I'm like kin to you, not just a homie, but homie. You ain't respond to my text or my email, so I'm about to grab my girl up by her neck, and I'm gonna probably choke her out, and I'm gonna go and get my tech, and I'm gonna start shooting shit until Sean O'Malley sends me a text. Yo, full-time fair. Here comes Wonderboy to Liverpool so proudly. He's got to shut Till up cause he done called him out. See, nothing much to say when you know you're gonna fuck Till up. Yeah, yeah, Wonderboy. Your karate's too much for his power. Wonderboy, won't you please go and save the day and go fuck Till up. Somebody grab him some chicken. This fucking guy is fat. How the fuck he gonna beat me and Volkov just put this guy on his back? I hope you know no one is scared of you, especially not DC. And you can call me Daniel Cormier or Double Chips, you know you cannot beat me. And yeah, I'm talking to Lewis. If you wanna scrap, we can do this. I know that you're black, I know you're a beast, I know that you're fat and you're stupid. I'm back on my bullshit and lacking my cool. At UFC 230, I'll spaz on this fool. He's not gonna beat me cause he's lacking the tools. This nigga can't breathe when he's splashing the pool. No cardio, hope, and it's probably gonna show when I take him down and I beat him up, cause that's all that I know. They call me Daniel Cormier, I'm coming to defend my title. If he think that he can beat me, then this motherfucker's psycho. Bitch, I'm gone. I'm sick of your bad back and you're still fat, let's talk about it. I'm sick of you being black and wearing MAGA hats, let's talk about it. I'm sick of you getting smashed and then coming back, let's talk about it. Or we can get dirty at UFC 230 and you can get sparked about it. I'm sick of your bad back and you're still fat, let's talk about it. I'm sick of you being black and wearing MAGA hats, let's talk about it. I'm sick of you getting smashed and then coming back, let's talk about it. Or we can get dirty at UFC 230 and you can get sparked about it. TJ, are you crazy? I'm gonna sleep you. In the first fight, I hope you know you lucked up, but you fucked up, agreeing to the rematch, cause I'm about to beat your ass. At UFC 227, the snake is going down. Then I move down and fight DJ and be the #1 pound for pound. You only took my title cause I had a bad back, but this time when I fight you, you gon' get that ass waxed. Hold up, they call me No Love, and they know that I'm a motherfucking soldier. I smoke that kush like I'm a motherfucking stoner, and if you ain't know it, motherfucker, now you know what. Yo, full-time family. Let's get this off the screen. It is time to start the show. This is going to be not too long of a show because it's late. I just got off work, out the gym. It's been a long day. But with that being said, it's time to talk some MMA because I could not wait. There's a lot of stuff going down, as well as they've continued to announce more fights for UFC Wichita, and some of you know I can't wait for that. I'll be there live, first UFC event ever. So want to talk about that card, some current events in MMA, but really what I wanted to talk about today is some upcoming fights. The fights that you can see in the title I really wanted to talk about. Just some upcoming title fights. None of the drama news around the fights, just a little bit about the fights, specifically the fighters, and how I think some of those fights might play out. And then after that, we'll get into some current events. I see my boy Third Eye First in the building. What it do? What's going on, brother? Not much. Just talking some MMA tonight. Cejudo versus Dillashaw, we're going to be talking about. Woodley versus Usman, I'm going to talk a little bit about. Derek Lewis versus Junior Dos Santos, which is going to headline UFC Fight Night 146, as well as Wonderboy versus Pettis. Going to talk about Holm versus Aspen Ladd, and then just touch on Manny Pacquiao and Adrian Broner, because that fight's also going down on the same night as Cejudo versus Dillashaw, and I know that is a big boxing fight, and man, I've tried and I've tried. I can't force myself to like boxing, you know what I'm saying? I really feel like the boxing fans are people who are boxers themselves, or pugilists, or people that grew up watching boxing. But in this day and age, and when I grew up, I had some uncles that watched boxing and such, but I was a kid, you know, it really didn't keep my attention. And in this day and age, it's even harder to compete with everything that, you know, all the different forms of entertainment. But I'm still interested in boxing and the combat sport, because it is a component of mixed martial arts. So I do respect boxing in that sense, because you do need to have boxing to be a good martial artist. But just boxing in itself is hard for me to watch coming from MMA. You know, if it's a really good fight, you know, if it's an eventful fight, I can do it. But I mean, I was watching what was the last heavyweight fight? Fury versus Wilder, and I'm not gonna stay on this tangent too long. I was watching Fury versus Wilder, and I wasn't too excited about it until that fight, that last knockdown, and I was like, oh shit, hold on, something's happening. But yeah, man, I really want to talk about these UFC fights, and then we'll get into the current events. I see my motherfucking dog Stamina MC in here, London, calling 8:31 a.m. UK time. Yo, good morning to you guys in the UK. Stamina, third eye first. Marks Mizzy says Colby would have beat Woodley versus Usman. Gonna get smashed. He isn't ready. I can't wait. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Sup, man? Tuning in from South Auckland, New Zealand. Love your work, bro. Yo, thank you very much, Roberto Felmaka. That is super dope. Shout out to Auckland, New Zealand, and Roberto. That is dope. Hey, Stamina, if you want, man, you wanna hop on here and just talk some fights? I mean, that's really all I'm doing. But I mean, it's early morning. If you wanna hop on, you can kind of co-host the show. That'd be dope. Actually, I don't think I have my headphones, so I have to find some more headphones. But either way, let's talk about these fights in the headline. Usman's so overrated, you will see. I mean, I've never been one to guarantee Usman will beat Woodley. I actually think it might be just a little too soon. I think this might be a fight that Usman, bro, we're gonna talk, let's talk about this shit, bro. Let's talk about it right now. Tyron Woodley versus Kamaru Usman. I'm not even talking about Colby Covington. We're talking about this fight because it's happening, it's official, and it's a hell of a fight. This is, to me, the best fight in the welterweight division. Honestly, if I didn't want to see Colby Covington get his ass whooped, this is the best fight in the best to me. I think Kamaru Usman is better than everybody in the welterweight division, not named Tyron Woodley. I think he's better than Colby Covington. So this is the best fight in the best. But Tyron Woodley is the best. He's the best. This is like #1 contender fighting the champion. Tyron Woodley is the champ right now, dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm out on the road currently. Headed back. Let's see how long you stream for. Okay, I'm planning on going for about an hour, but honestly, got a lot to talk about. You know, so let's get back into it. Woodley and Usman. Woodley is one of the greatest fighters of all time, in my opinion. That might be an overstatement for some people, but it's not, because he's not better than GSP on some people's radar. I get that. GSP is one of the greatest fighters of all time, 100%. If you look at his resume on paper, it's better because he beat a lot of people that were UFC champions, former UFC champions. GSP beat a lot of talented fighters in his day. But Tyron Woodley was also beating really good fighters back then, and also is still beating really good fighters. He wasn't in a position to fight former world champions. Former world champions aren't going to take a fight with Tyron Woodley until he's the champion. And even then, a lot of guys don't want to fight Tyron Woodley, so he's not the same opportunity. He's not a huge money fight as to where someone might have been a little more willing to step in there with GSP, because for one, you're probably going to get out wrestled. You're not going to get your fucking egg scrambled, knocked out. You know, you can get knocked out by GSP, but it's a little safer and a lot more money. So GSP is going to get a little more better fights as far as that's concerned. It's harder for Tyron Woodley to get those big fights. But if you're talking about one of the greatest welterweights of all time, Tyron Woodley's up there. And if he beats Usman, god damn, it's hard to deny this dude. Usman's a motherfucker. Bro, Usman is a beast. I don't give a... People think he's overrated. You're crazy. Who's better than him besides Woodley in the welterweight division? Seriously. No, that dude is a beast. Usman is a beast, but Tyron Woodley's the champion for a reason. And so I think this is a fight that Tyron Woodley could win. You know what I'm saying? He probably will. I would probably favor Tyron Woodley in this fight. But it's close. 60-40 Woodley for me right now. And this is a fight that I could see Usman losing, learning from, coming back for a rematch. Unless Colby Covington gets the next title shot, which I don't think he deserves. I think Covington should have to fight Askren, the winner of Askren versus Lawler. If you're punishing the guy, I don't think you let him sit out of a dangerous fight and then give him a title fight after that. Fuck that. I mean, it's a lot of money, but you're already kind of risking that right now. Even though Usman and Colby's still a good fight. But back to Usman versus Woodley. This is a fight that I feel like Usman could come back and win in the future. You know, kind of like Cejudo versus Demetrius Johnson. He wasn't ready the first time, but boy, he got better over the next couple of years, came back and beat one of the greatest fighters of all time, and Kamaru Usman could definitely do that. But Usman, you say, is a one-trick pony grinding wrestler. I disagree, man. Usman, have you not seen his knockouts? He knocks dudes out. He out-wrestles dudes dominantly. I mean, Usman can stand with dudes. Is he the best striker? No, because he's got a wrestling base. Nobody that's a wrestler has translated into being one of the best strikers ever, too. But wrestlers are still some of the best fighters. But Usman... did you not see him knock out Sergio Moraes? Somersault? Like, that shit was crazy, dog. He's dangerous. Ground and pound dangerous. He's coming off of a finish. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he's a great wrestler for sure. He can grind you out, and that's what makes him even more dangerous. That's what's dangerous for Tyron Woodley. People have questioned Tyron Woodley's cardio in the past, and honestly, we've seen him fight 5-round fights, but we still haven't seen it super tested, and I'll explain that. That's why this fight, Usman has a way better chance than people think. Because let's talk about Tyron Woodley's cardio for a second. And, you know, I hate when people question, specifically, I'm just keeping it real, black athletes' cardio. I don't like that shit, but there is something when there's someone that has a lot of muscle mass, you know, regardless of, you know what I'm saying? And so Tyron Woodley, yeah, he's shown he can fight 5-round fights, but he's a muscular dude, and that translates into not the greatest cardio. So as hard as he trains, and Tyron Woodley trains extremely hard, and that's why he's the champion, and I still pick him to win this fight. And he's shown he can go 5 rounds. But who did he go 5 rounds against, and how did those fights play out? Wonderboy, Maia. Wonderboy was a chess match. Wonderboy wasn't making him use all of his energy in the first few rounds. Maia, he had a torn labrum. He was just stuffing takedowns, but he didn't have to use a whole lot of energy in the first 3-4 rounds. First 3 rounds and get tired in the fourth. He didn't have to use a lot of energy. Against Usman, the grinder, as you say, Usman's going to put his hands on you. And even if that is his strategy for the first 2-3 rounds, I'm going to grind him down, and then we can stand and bang. We seen Khabib do that. He took Conor down the first round, got him tired. He didn't come out striking with him in the first round. Wore him down a little bit, then he fucking dropped Conor. Usman is somebody that's got the potential. We know his cardio, fucking savage. Usman's a savage, bro. He's a beast. I mean, regardless of the 30% snooze mom, what people want to call him, I'm talking about the fighter. He's a beast. He's not a one-trick pony just because he's a great wrestler. He's more well-rounded than you would think. Now, with that being said, he's got the potential to grind down Tyron Woodley for the first 3 rounds, or Woodley's gonna have it, do well in the grappling exchanges as well. But what's gonna happen is he's gonna have to use a lot more energy in the first 3 rounds than he has in any of his fights. A lot of times he knocks dudes the fuck out. He could knock Usman out in the first round, and we don't even have to consider this scenario. But what happens if Usman wears on Woodley for 3 rounds? And yeah, he, shoots for a couple takedowns. And what if he gets one and Woodley gets back up, but he's using energy? Woodley, is he going to try and take Usman down? You're going to use a lot of energy trying to do that. Clinching up with Usman, you're going to be using a lot of energy grinding, in that grind. We've never seen Woodley in a grind for the first 3 rounds and then win. You know what I'm saying? So, Usman is super dangerous, so cannot wait for that fight, man. Tyron Woodley versus Kamaru Usman. It's going to be on the same card as John Jones versus Anthony Smith, the co-main event. And honestly, that's going to be the best, as far as the best fight and the best, that's it. Anthony Smith, much respect to him, and he's got a knockout chance. But, you know what I'm saying? This isn't John Jones is just one of the greatest fighters of all time, as far as him, if he's allowed to fight and he's fighting clean, he's got the skills. So, and I say he's fighting clean because now he's passing his drug test, but like I said, it could pulse back in his system, right? They told us it could be in there forever. For all they know, it could pulse. So, I'm not even going to get on that today because I want to talk about the fights. But, so we talked about Woodley versus Usman. Let's talk about Cejudo versus Dillashaw a little bit. These guys been, they're going to be coming up next. Their fight's actually coming up this weekend, same night as Pacquiao versus Broner, which is a big boxing fight. So not going to have all the casuals, and this is on ESPN+. There's not going to be a lot of casuals watching this card. You know what I'm saying? With the competition, but it is a good card, though. There are a lot of good fights. The casual MMA fans will probably be tuned in, but not all the fans out there, because Pacquiao versus Broner is probably a little big. Maybe on a bigger scale, I would imagine. That's a pretty big fight. I'm not even a boxing guy, and I kind of want to see that shit. Pacquiao versus Broner, I kind of want to watch that. I'm not even a boxing guy at all, so I know that's a pretty big fight. But yeah, TJ Dillashaw versus Henry Cejudo at flyweight. TJ Dillashaw believes Henry Cejudo is boring and he's not dangerous. Boy, I got a bad feeling about my dude, TJ Dillashaw. I'm a fan of TJ Dillashaw. One of my favorite fighters, actually. I don't got a great feeling going into this fight. I'll tell you that much. I feel like he's been looking past Henry Cejudo to Max Holloway. His coaches, I believe, have talked about Max Holloway as well. Possibly being the first guy to fight for 3 belts. But it's like, bro, you got to beat this guy at this weight first, Henry Cejudo. Now he's saying Henry's not dangerous. I mean, be confident, but don't be overconfident. Don't look past this guy. And I don't think TJ Dillashaw's the type to do that because he's so fucking good. That's why he's the champion. That's why he's the 2-time champion. That's why he is one of the best fighters on the planet. Definitely capable of winning this fight. But nobody should look past their opponent. Maybe Cyborg looked past Nunez. Maybe Rousey looked past Nunez. But yeah! Oh shit, family. Let's pull up the chat. What's my boy Stamina talking about? He said, why you gotta do that third eye? Third eye says the dream versus the nightmare. Black on black crime. The dream? Wait, is Tyron Woodley the dream? The Nigerian nightmare. Broner don't show up for big fights, says Third Eye First. How's it going? Full time 2 men enter fight talk. Not bad, man. How's it going on your end? Blessed with Merc TJ, says Third Eye First. So I'm saying, you think don't let Blessed take up too much headspace in your Henry Cejudo fight, Kent, because they're 2 completely different fighters. Don't be thinking about that potential matchup with the Hawaiian kickboxer himself, Blessed Max Holloway in the Blessed era, and how you could potentially beat him and what would happen. How would you make the weight? Don't let all that shit infiltrate your mind when you're training for the Olympian wrestler Henry Cejudo at flyweight. You got to make this weight. Like, you got enough to worry about, think about. This is no easy fight. fight you should be looking past. Henry Cejudo is a dangerous fighter, regardless of what my boy TJ is saying right here. He showed that when he went 5 rounds and got the nod against pound for pound former #1 fighter on the planet, Demetrious Johnson. Hello? That guy's fucking dangerous. Now, is he gonna fucking knock you out? That's not what you think about, but he's a dangerous fighter. What I mean when I say he can fucking win, he's not dangerous in the Tyron Woodley sense, you know what I'm saying? Like, but he's dangerous in the GSP sense. If you catch my drift. My boy Benji in the building. Greetings. What's going on? Roberto Falmaca says it's gonna be a very explosive fight, I reckon. Dillashaw versus Cejudo, man, this could be a good fight, but I mean honestly, just keeping it 100, this could be a wrestling fight. You know what I'm saying? Both these guys are great wrestlers. TJ Dillashaw, one of the best MMA wrestlers, maybe the best MMA wrestler according to JLP. And Henry Cejudo, one of the best amateur wrestlers, Olympic wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? So, and beat #1 P4P DJ arguably in that fight, champion. Beat a lot of the top contenders. I mean, aside from Demetrious Johnson, it's going to be hard to find someone that can beat Henry Cejudo at flyweight. Definitely one of the greatest flyweights out there. Even Joseph Benavidez, who he has a win over, which I felt like he won that fight. I felt like Cejudo won that fight. So this is a dangerous fight for TJ. But this is what he had to say. He said he's gotten a lot better. I was impressed with his growth, but he's not like a dangerous fighter. He's a little more of a boring fighter, but he's smart, right? I think that's where I'm going to pick him apart. I'm going to be able to put it all together. He said, I can tell you exactly which way I'm going to finish him, but I can't tell you exactly which way I'm going to finish him, but my pressure is going to be too much. I'm too well-rounded that I can take the fight anywhere, and he's going to want to fold. He doesn't have that competitive edge that I have. What? I mean, to be fair, maybe nobody has the competitive edge that TJ has because he's real competitive. Ask his sparring partners. But he's definitely got a competitive drive. I mean, any wrestler has that competitive edge, that competitive drive. Tough motherfuckers. Any wrestler. And an Olympic level wrestler, now UFC champion, definitely has that competitive edge and drive. So maybe it's not on TJ's level, but for sure he's got that edge. I was chasing Johnson down, says TJ Dillashaw. He had the #1 pound for pound spot. So that means maybe just a little bit more, but Cejudo's a great athlete. He went out there with a great plan. I'm not too sure that I can say he won that one decisively over Demetrious, but he showed some great improvements. Really, it's just me being dominant over everyone. I fight and it's going to be exciting, but I was chasing Demetrious, yes. Maybe he's not as motivated to. Speaking of fucking competitive edge, let's talk motivation. You think TJ Dillashaw, who's chasing greatness, is going to be as motivated to fight Henry Cejudo, who's not the #1 pound for pound, than he would be as motivated to fight Demetrious Johnson, #1 pound for pound, regardless of Demetrious Johnson not being the hugest pay-per-view draw. Everybody knew who he was, casual fans, whether or not they bought the pay-per-view. They recognized Demetrious Johnson. And so, with that being said, that's a bigger fight. That means more. So, are you as motivated to fight Cejudo as you would be to fight Demetrious? I mean, there's a lot going into this fight for TJ. You're looking past the fight. You're talking about Max Holloway. You're saying he's not dangerous. I'm just saying those are not good signs going into a fight. TJ has the skills to win this fight, but there's a lot of fucking intangibles right now pointing against this guy. On top of this being at a new weight class, that's not an intangible. That's real. That's how we've never seen TJ Dillashaw at 125. How is his cardio going to look down here in a championship fight, 5 rounds? Is he going to make the? I mean, there's a lot, for TJ right now. So there's a lot of shit. I mean, Cejudo, and on top of him being the champion, he could win this fight, man. It's going to be crazy. Stamina MC says, skill for skill. TJ takes Henry, in my opinion, so far out of TJ's comfort zone. However, I can't be nearly as confident. I'm with you. Two Men Interfight Talk says, do you think the weight cut will affect Dillashaw's cardio? Yes, man. And I just got to that in my little, rant. For sure. For sure it could affect his cardio. I mean, I feel like they've got a great nutrition, team. I feel like they're doing it the right way. It seems like they're doing it scientifically. But we've never seen TJ down here. What is that? That's not really telling you a lot about his cardio. His potential cardio. Now, who knows? We'll see in the fight, but for sure it could affect it. So I also wanted to talk about Derek Lewis versus Junior Dos Santos. Stamina MC. The fight card has started to be revealed, bro. I've seen this. And it says, so on top of Derek Lewis versus Junior Dos Santos, we know about Mariano Yana Kuniskai. So I seen this earlier. Like, okay, they added another fight. My girl was like, when are they coming? Bro, they've announced like 8 fights for UFC Wichita. Let's look at this card because this is going to be our first live card. But I want to talk about Junior Dos Santos versus Derek Lewis as well, the main event, because I'm for sure going to be getting hyped about this whole card. Beneil Dariush versus Drew Dober. Anthony Martin, who I'm a fan of, big fan of. Oh, shit! Oh, shit! What the fuck if... Dude, what if Kayla Harrison is like in Anthony Martin's corner, bro? Bro, she's going to be in Wichita. What the fuck? I need an autograph or something. What the fuck? A live drop. Oh, shit. Dude, what the fuck? Oh, shit. That just fucking, oh my God. I gotta get a fucking live drop. What? I didn't even think about that. Anthony Martin is Kayla Harrison's boyfriend. What if she's like in his corner, bro? I need a live drop. What? Didn't even think about that. Anthony Martin versus Sergio Moraes. Blago Ivanov versus Ben Rothwell. Daniel Spitz versus Jeff Hughes. Yo, check this shit out. They got Daniel Spitz, this heavyweight. Isn't this like Jian Kim Lin? They got Jeff Hughes' picture as like Lee Jian Kim. What? Like heavyweight versus her. Tim Boach versus Omari Akhmedov. Marion Renault versus Yana Kunitskaya. Stamina MC said, fanboy overload. Yo! I don't even fan out like that. Before a second, I almost did there. Like, oh, what? Is this what? I didn't even think about that. But no, we got to talk about the main event. Derek Lewis versus Junior Dos Santos. That's what we're going to be talking about. The main event, Derek Lewis coming off of that heavyweight fight, title fight with Daniel Cormier. Let's talk about it. And before that, he fought Alexander Volkov. Come from behind victory. Was actually losing the fight. Hell of a comeback in that fight. Alexander Volkov had him rocked. Could have almost went for the finish there. But Derek Lewis came back like he does, which is what he's fucking almost made a career on. I mean, that's how he's got to the damn title. If it wasn't for these comeback wins for Derek Lewis, where he's been down on the rounds, maybe going into round 3. If it goes to a decision, he lost the first 2 rounds, so he's probably going to lose the decision. But goddamn, he gets the knockout in round 3. Clutch gene. I mean, that's Derek Lewis is the heavyweight. You got Brian Ortega, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of fighters that do that. They might be down, but they're never out. I mean, the Darren Elkins of the world, Derek Lewis is one of them. But he's going to be fighting another former world champion. He just fought the current champ, Daniel Cormier. Now he's going to be fighting former world champion, heavyweight champion, Junior Dos Santos. And in that fight, it's going to be tough for Derek Lewis, honestly. Because Junior Dos Santos, he's coming back, and he's won his last 2 fights. Tough fights. The first fight was against Blago Ivanov, who's also on this card. Blago Ivanov was actually, he's no joke. You might not have been familiar with him because that was his UFC debut, but he main evented in that UFC for a reason. It wasn't just because it was Junior Dos Santos' comeback fight, off of suspension. They main evented UFC Boise. Blagoy Ivanov. He was like 18-1 coming into that with legit wins. I believe in, what's that Russian organization? ACB, I believe. A credible organization, some legit wins, some tough wins. Blagoy Ivanov. Junior Dos Santos beat him. Then he came back and beat Blagoy. He beat most recently Tai Tuivasa in. Hey. Ain't going back and forth with you niggas. I'm living my best life. Hey, we got the troll Luke Thomas late for a live stream. Would you like accurate analysis? We got Stewie in the building on his troll shit. What's going on, Stewie? But yeah, Junior Dos Santos beat Tai Tuivasa in Adelaide. So now he's 2-0 on his comeback. By the way, he came off a suspension, but he got cleared. He's one of the guys that got popped, and then come to find out later, after his reputation's already dragged through the mud, he was a guy that was cleared as innocent. It was contaminated supplements, and so he was cleared by USADA. Actually, they found the supplement or the labs, and so he came back and he's won both of his fights, and could be back in championship form. And if that's the case, which is looking like it is, that's not good for Derek Lewis. Because Junior Dos Santos is the better fighter. Now, you can't count Derek Lewis out. He can, knock Junior Dos Santos out, even if he's getting beat up for the first 2 rounds. Can't count him out. But man, I would, give the edge to former champion Junior Dos Santos. I don't think he's going to make that mistake and give Derek Lewis any of those chances. He's going to have clearly the better boxing. If you're talking hands, which is really Derek Lewis, more of a brawler, right? He's not going to use his wrestling or his jiu-jitsu. He's not going to shoot for a takedown against Junior. He might actually shoot for a takedown fucking around, but he don't got the wrestling to keep him down for long and really just, do too much even if he does score a takedown. So this fight's probably going to stay on the feet, and Junior Dos Santos has the better hands, so seems like a, potential crash course, a really tough fight for Derek Lewis. But I'll be watching that motherfucker live. I can't wait. I've never seen a UFC fight live, bro. I'm fucking fanning out over that fight night like I just almost did when I found out Kayla Harrison might be coming to fucking town. Is that not like fucking crazy, bro? Like number one, if not, okay, probably not the number one Kayla Harrison fan, but I'm up there, right? Like number 98. There's a lot of them. But either way, ain't that crazy? That's fucking wild. Stamina MC says, but you know who Stewie is, though. Hippo eyes. Luke Thomas says, this really ain't Stewie. That's insulting full time. Yeah, okay. Stamina MC says, after seeing how Tuivasa had JDS in trouble at points, I think Lewis' power could well be a problem for him. Yeah, it could be. Any heavyweight's power is a problem for any heavyweight. For sure. If he fucking connects, he's knocking out anybody. If he connects with Stipe, he's knocking out Stipe. If he connected with Cormier clean, he's knocking out Cormier. But is he going to connect with the better boxer, Junior Dos Santos? Gonna have the better hands. Junior Dos Santos, stick and move, son. Stick and move, son. Junior Dos Santos may be the better cardio. You could argue the better grappling, But yeah, Derek Lewis for sure could knock out JDS. And you can't count Derek Lewis out in the sense that even if he's losing the first 2 rounds, this motherfucker's gonna fuck around and knock you out in the 3rd. Luke Thomas says, everyone knows who Stewie is. Kayla's always in his corner. Make sure you let her know. Bro, is she really? Holy flying flipping flapjacks. I don't even know how it would hopefully they do like a meet and greet at Buffalo Wild Wings. Like I would try and get an Anthony Martin drop and a Kayla Harrison drop. That would be what? Crazy. Derek Lewis is going to be in Wichita in 2 days, Thursday. But one of my friends who actually trains MMA, he's going to be at his gym. And so only members get to be in there. So I don't get to fucking go because, I'm not a member, but he's a member. But he said the instructors and shit, they're like, don't be fucking fanning out and shit when he's here. But Derek Lewis is going to be here on Thursday. Third Eye First UK UFC gym is in Surrey. Third Eye First's first UK gym is in Surrey. Where will the rest be? I'm not sure. I'll look that up. Luke Thomas says she was at his last 2 fights in the corner. It's fucking crazy, dude. Talk about fucking, like, destiny. That's absolutely insane. That's absolutely crazy. Anthony Martin's going to be fighting in Wichita, where I'll possibly be live, hopefully, if I can afford it. I'm trying my hardest. I'm for sure going to most likely be there. Tickets, I think, just went on sale, too. And Kayla Harrison's going to be in Anthony Martin's corner. UFC, gods, if you're listening, please set up like an Anthony Martin meet and greet or something. Because I gotta get like an Anthony Martin autograph. And I'm like, yo, can I get a drop? Anthony Martin, like, yo, this is Anthony Martin. You're watching Full-Time MMA. And then, I'm like, and bro, by the way, I'm sure you don't know who the fuck I am or at all. But I am like the number 2 or 1. I'm going to say number 1 so I can try and get the drop. I'm the number 1 Kayla Harrison fan in the world, too. Like, as far as her fighting, I've been saying she could potentially challenge Cyborg even before Cyborg got knocked out. It would be crazy if I could get her to, like, you know, give me a drop. And if not, I get it, you know. But that would be crazy. What the fuck? What in the fuck? Like, that would fucking be crazy, you guys. What in the shit? Oh, Luke Thomas says, let's all donate Full-Time. Good tickets. He deserves it. Yo, that, I mean, the fund is at the bottom. That's what that's for. Trying to get tickets to go. That's what the fund, I found the ticket prices today. That's why I made the goal. The ticket prices, 78 is the cheapest. 128 is the most expensive. That ain't crazy. I mean, I've never been to an event, but that don't sound crazy. And I want to get one other ticket. You know, I was going to take my girl, but if she's fucking acting up, then I might take my brother. You know what I'm saying? Either way, I'm going to have one of them tickets. I don't give a fuck. If we only get 128, I'm going to have that one. That's my ticket. I might have to go myself. You know what I'm saying? But, yo, Third Eye First is Full-Time MMA. Have you thought about getting a press pass? I mean, I don't even know how you would go about doing that. But, yeah, now that you say that, I need to make a note and think of, I mean, fuck yeah. I don't even, but I don't have I don't have equipment for, like, what do I take a, I don't have, yeah, no, I don't have, there would be nothing for me to do there except for be there like a fan. I ain't got no damn cameras and microphones and, you know, or an iPhone, talking to my iPhone. I don't even, yeah, I would kind of just be there. But it would be dope. I mean, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I got the credentials either. But that is interesting. I might look into it, though. I'll try and look into it. Luke Thomas says, make a video. We all put in 10, 20 bucks. Get you some front seating. Steven, is he acting up? Yo, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, acting up out here, bro. Yeah, I'm just saying. Just take myself in my motherfucking self. Well, let's talk about some fights. Yo, that was breaking news on. I didn't even know that shit, bro. Like I seen the card earlier, but it didn't cross my mind. Like I knew it was Anthony Martin. I'm a big fan of Anthony Martin, but I didn't even think. Oh shit, 2-Time might be in his corner. What? What? All right, back to the show. We're gonna talk about Wonderboy versus Pettis, and then we're gonna get into these current events. Full-Time family. Start with the basics. Pen and paper, says Third Eye First. Okay, I got pen and paper. Like, just write notes while I'm there. Like, listen to people ask questions. Okay, so Darren Lewis said his balls aren't hot anymore. He just said that. I hear you. Start with the basics, like before there was. You know what I'm saying? Before there was recorders and shit like that. Puma Stoball says, what's good, fool? Not much what's going on, Puma. Hassan What's up, Weirds? What's up, Big Full Time? Not much, man. About to talk some current events in MMA and this upcoming bout with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Anthony Pettis. I think before we do that, it's time for an intermission. Let's go to UFC Yankovic. If you haven't subscribed here, we are 1 subscriber away from 900 subscribers. We're trying to get to 1,000. Once we do that, hopefully we can afford the giveaway. It's going to be a party, though. Can't wait to get that to 1,000 subscribers. But before we get to talking about Wonderboy versus Pettis, we have to play this Darren Till versus Wonderboy remix for our intermission. So we'll be back with the show in just a second. I'm gonna get something to drink too. Here comes Wonderboy to Liverpool so proudly. He's got to shut Till up cause he done called him out. See, nothing much to say when you know you're gonna fuck Till up. Yeah, yeah, Wonderboy. Your karate's too much for his power. Wonderboy, won't you please go and save the day and go fuck Till up. Now it's time for me to tell you the story about a young cocky man, arch rival and nemesis of Wonderboy, with powers comparable to Wonderboy. What powers, you ask? How about the powers of Muay Thai? That do anything for you? That's devastation, Holmes. How about the power to speak 3 languages, fluently at that, with no fake accent? That's Rosetta Stone, Kyle. How about the power to KO you? Alright, guys. I see someone in the chat that made me stop it. He said Till won that fight. Oh, let me take this off the screen. Till won that fight. I know, I picked Till to win that fight, dog. You might be new to the channel. I picked Till to win that fight. I don't base those songs off who won or who I think's gonna win. I just make it because I'm you fucking aka UFC Yankovic, bro. And sometimes I have some fun making some MMA parody songs. And I just happen to want to remix that Wonderboy song because it's a fucking epic walkout song. But I make a Darren Till song too. You know what I'm saying? And ain't no thing. But yeah, Darren Till did win that fight, and I actually picked. I don't say like saying predicted, like I picked him. I didn't predict, like, oh, I predicted it like fucking Miss Cleo. Like, I made an educated pick. I didn't predict that shit like Nostradamus. Oh, it's going to be, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have a mystic ball. I fucking looked at the information and I picked Darren Till to win that fight. But yeah, man, I wasn't nothing personal against Darren Till. Yo, you know what'd be funny? What if fucking Derek Lewis, right, did like a meet and greet? He's like, there's that motherfucker that made that Rap Devil, that DC song. Let's talk about it. Sick of my bad back. Knocks me the fuck out. You got knocked the fuck out, yo. I might get knocked out by Derek Lewis. I'm gonna sue his ass though, y'all. I'm broke. I'm gonna sue him like a motherfucker. But it might happen. You don't like my song? He takes it personal like that. Darren Till won that fight. Let's talk about Wonderboy versus Pettis. These guys have been going back and forth on social media, pretty much all but seeming to be agreeing to fight respectfully. 2 guys, both not former champions because Wonderboy's a former title challenger, but Pettis, former lightweight champion, potentially stepping up to welterweight. This is definitely not an exhibition fight, but this is a fun fight. I don't know why like the word exhibition like comes because this is more of a fun fight for me. Pettis coming up to a new weight class. Both of these guys kind of flashy, can be. Wonderboy is also, that's crazy as fuck. I can't believe I'm giving him like the nickname Flashy after these fucking chess matches we've been watching. You know what I'm saying? You think about Usman and Woodley, like the descriptive word that comes to mind, boring, even though that's not the case all the time. Wonderboy's had just as many boring fights, and it's like, oh, the flashy fighter. This nigga's boring. But Pettis is flashy. But, you know what I'm saying? What if Pettis comes in here and decides to take the Woodley approach and play chess, and he doesn't engage with Wonderboy because it's not going to be smart. This is a bad matchup for Pettis coming up a weight class. But it's going to be a good fight potentially. If Pettis doesn't, engage in the brawl and love the fight like we just seen him versus Tony Ferguson, just fucking, let's go! Ah! Yeah! Licking the blood. Like, crazy motherfucker. If he shows up, like, fuck his style, I want to fight. We could see a fucking wild fight here. And Anthony Pettis at welterweight, gonna be a little more powerful. That jumping kick off the cage gonna have a little more oomph to it. This could be some fun shit we see here. Hopefully Anthony Pettis doesn't decide to play chess with Wonderboy. But with that being said, I like Wonderboy's chances in this fight. I don't think it's a bad matchup for him because it's going to be probably a potential striking affair, you would think. And in any striking matchup, especially with a fighter, that's going to have to be aggressive with Wonderboy or that's smaller than Wonderboy potentially, I like Wonderboy's chances. Jorge Masvidal is a great striker, but he's, a former lightweight, and so I didn't like his chances against Wonderboy. Masvidal is one of my favorite fighters. No ifs, ands, buts. I don't give a fuck about a UFC loss when it comes to him because he's a real fighter. He don't have the politics on his side to fucking get to the title shot here real nice and clean and, get the split decision. What the fuck ever. But he's one of my favorite fighters. Game bred. Jorge Masvidal. Till Wonderboy beat him. But I didn't like that matchup for Masvidal. A counter striker. You know what I'm saying? It's like, even if you're not... That was a fight I feel like Wonderboy was a little more willing to open up. Like, okay, what's going on? He came forward a little bit in that fight. But I don't feel like Masvidal is a guy that's got the knockout power of a Tyron Woodley, which made Wonderboy apprehensive in their fights. He didn't want to come forward against Tyron Woodley and throw no hands like that. He was waiting to counter strike. Woodley will knock your ass out. You come forward against him. But Masvidal's a little smaller. He's a little more technical with it. And you coming forward against him, opening up with them karate combos. And I feel like that could happen here. Wonderboy might be aggressive against Pettis. He ain't got to worry about getting slept. You know what I'm saying? He can be aggressive a little bit. So, yeah. This is probably not going to be a boring fight because this is a matchup where I feel like Wonderboy will get aggressive. He's not going to be worried about that fucking right cocked back. That fucking Woodley bomb back here. You know what I'm saying? Dude coming up from... He's coming up from 155. He's not going to be as powerful as some of these welterweights. So this is a really good matchup for Wonderboy to kind of showcase his skills. But it also is potentially a really fun fight thanks to Anthony Pettis and this matchmaking. Salute to the matchmakers on this one. Well, especially if you're a Wonderboy fan. Yeah, because it's probably an L for Pettis, and that's not what he needs. He's just coming off of one of those, His brother just took 2 L's. Can we get him a fucking favorable matchup? Or what's up? Can we get a Pettis brother a W, matchmakers? Even though I love this fight, I just don't see the W coming. But with that being said, Tyron Woodley planning to move to 185 pounds this year. Let's get to the current events in MMA. Now we've talked about some fights. Planning on moving to 185 pounds this year. He said people at middleweight need to watch out. Tyron Woodley got those champ aspirations. Of course, he was ready to fight Bisping when he was the champion, but everybody was ready to fight Bisping when he was the champion. Fucking Conor McGregor wanted to fight Bisping, I think, when he was the champion. You know what I'm saying? Like, Max Holloway probably wanted to fight Bisping. They probably had a couple. Demetrius, okay, I'm fucking kidding. But Woodley, 185. Now, one thing I did kind of find interesting about Woodley when he kind of wanted to fight Bisping. He was like, now, I don't want to fight Romero. He kept it 100, man. You know, say what you want. Is that too real? Did he keep it too real? Like, I'll fight Bisping. I'll go up, but I really don't want to fight them big boy. Like Romero. I don't want to fight those dudes. He kept it real. But maybe if he likes the matchup, he will step up. If it's GSP, he would have stepped up and fought him, Bisping. He might fight Whitaker. Whitaker's fighting Gastelum. I know he'll fight Gastelum. I know Woodley will fight Gastelum at 185. He already did. Except for Gastelum was the only one that got to be 185. 180. Kelvin Gastelum's going to be fighting Robert Whitaker next for the middleweight title. That fight's under the fucking radar. What the fuck? Ain't that on the next pay-per-view? Why ain't nobody talking about that shit more? I gotta pull up that fight card. That shit is under the radar. When the fuck is this? Bro, is that the next? Where's UFC 233? What? Oh, that one got scrapped. I'm like, what? This ain't fucking real. 234. That's the next fight. Whitaker versus Gastelum is in like 2 weeks, and I ain't heard a fucking peep about it. Holy shit, we got a middleweight fight coming up, guys. These guys coached the Ultimate Fighter Season 28. Adesanya versus Silva on the card. Ricky Simone, Ronnie Yaya, Devontae Smith. I know I'm a little too hyped about him this early, but I'm a fan of this guy. I'm actually a fan of Devontae Smith. Fuck what you talking about. Dong Hyun Kim, Jim Crute, Ryan Spann. Yo, this is going down February 9th. But to stick to the topic for the night, fucking UFC 234 middleweight title fight's going to be between Whitaker and Gastelum. Whitaker could very well win that fight. I'm sure he's probably going to be the favorite to win that fight because he's the reigning middleweight champion who fucking beat Yoel Romero twice, and he also beat Jacare on the way up to the title fight, and Derek Brunson. He's kind of a motherfucker. Robert Whitaker's kind of a fucking savage, kind of a beast, kind of one of the fucking best middleweights doing it. So yeah, he might be the favorite in that fight over the former middleweight Kelvin Gastelum, who kind of has what Anthony Smith has going on. He's really only beat the legends, except for Anthony Smith actually recently beat Volkan Ozdemir. But when Kelvin Gastelum came up to 185, he was on a Legends ass-kicking tour, fighting like the Vitor Belforts of the worlds, and the guys that you look at. Let me pull him up. Kelvin Gastelum. He fought off the top of my head, he fought Bisping most recently, but before that, he fought Tim Kennedy, I think. The guys that were kind of on the way out the door, and. So I'm going to pull up his UFC profile. So, that tends into play in Whitaker's favor too. We haven't seen Kelvin Gastelum defeat any of those top-ranked middleweights like we seen Robert Whitaker. But and actually, if you look at the Weidman fight, he did fight a contender. And he fucking kind of got his ass whooped in that fight. He connected with the hands against Weidman. Caught him once in the first round. But after that, Weidman had his way with him with the wrestling. Took him down 7-8 times. I wish I could see that on UFC.com, but their fucking new website's trash. You know what I'm saying? Can't see how many takedowns a fighter scored in their fight anymore. But I'll tell you, it was a lot in that one. And then he ultimately submitted Kelvin Gastelum. He looked like a middleweight wrestler versus a welterweight that came up to middleweight. That's what would happen if fucking, someone like John Lineker fought Frankie Edgar. That's the type of shit that could happen. Like, a bigger dude, you better knock me out. But if you don't, probably going to be taking you down, little dude. And that's kind of what Chris Weidman did to Kelvin Gastelum in that fight, being the legit middleweight and the dominant wrestler. But before that, like I said, it was Hendricks, it was Kennedy, it was Belfort, all guys kind of on the way out. Bisping, none of them right. None of these guys are top 5 contenders, and the top 5 contender he fought was Weidman. And that didn't go his way. He did beat Souza, but that was a split decision. And you could argue he's on the way out the door, even though he's still up there, and he's still a motherfucker, and he's still beating top guys. He fought to a split decision with Gastelum. Gastelum got away with that one, by the way. Because that was in Brazil. The fucking Mexican Americans like to go to the movies. My bad, my Cheech and Chong. But the Mexican American got a win on the scorecards in a split decision against the fucking Brazilian legend Jacare Souza. Like, what? That's actually kind of fucking crazy. Because if Jacare wins that fight, he probably gets a title shot at middleweight. Because Gastelum's won it, and he's getting a title shot at middleweight, so that's fair to say. So you're fighting Jacare in Brazil. You go to a split decision, and the Brazilian judges they're not feeling like scamming that day. You know what I'm saying? Like, not scamming, wrong word. But they're not feeling like robbing your ass today. You know how that goes anywhere, not in Brazil. Anywhere. The hometown fighter, it's split decision, right? If you're in Auckland and you go to split decision with Mark Hunt, you're expecting Mark Hunt to get his hand raised. If you're in fucking Mexico fighting Yair Rodriguez and you go to a split decision, you might think there's a little home cooking, expect Yair to get the W. If you go to fucking China and fight Kenshin Nasukawa to a split decision, you might think Tenshin might get his hand raised. So you go to Brazil, fight a fucking legend on his way out the door ahead of a potential title fight, and you go to a split decision, you got graced by the MMA gods that day. Because they could have robbed your ass and nobody would have blinked an eye. Oh, Kelvin because it was a close fight, by the way. It wasn't even like a robbery, by the way. It ain't like Gastelum whooped his ass badly and it went to split decision. Actually, it was a really close fight in a split decision. Nobody would have blinked a fucking eye if Souza won that fight. Like, oh, he got... Even if you felt like Gastelum won. Oh, he got robbed? He's in Brazil. Shh. Happens. So, now he's fighting Robert Whittaker. But styles make fights. Jacare's another dominant grappler, even though we've seen him knock dudes out with head kicks in the past and recently. Shout out to Derek Brunson. Jacare or Weidman, Jacare's a grappler. Weidman's grappler. Gastelum, Whittaker, yeah, he's got good wrestling, but that's not what he's known for. He's not known for his fucking, out wrestling dudes. He's a great striker. So styles make fights. Gastelum, really clean boxer, and he's a great wrestler on top of that. But when you're undersized, you're undersized. But Gastelum, fucking, he could. What if he fucking pull? It's gonna be an upset, for sure. I'd pick Whittaker, off the top of my head. What if he? But he could pull it off. Like, we've seen crazier shit. I mean, we've seen way crazier shit. Matt Serra versus GSP. I don't even want to say Cyborg versus Nunez because that really wasn't that much of an upset. It was because we didn't expect it, but when you actually look into their resumes, like, Nunez for sure had way more of a chance than people were giving her in that fight. Way more. But, we've seen upsets. Gastelum he almost knocked, if he would have knocked out Weidman, shit. He'd probably be looking at this whole fight, him coming to this fight differently. Because if he knocked out Weidman and then beat Bisping, like, he'd be like 5-0 at this weight class. Knocked out Weidman in the first round. What? We would not be looking at him as an underdog. But the fact that he lost to Weidman, and fought that split with Jacare, he's going to be an underdog in this fight. But what if he knocked out Whitaker? Now let's get back to Woodley saying he'll go up to 185, because I got into all that talking about how Woodley would fight Bisping but not Romero. I haven't heard Woodley saying anything crazy about Whitaker. You know what I'm saying? I ain't heard him. He ain't been selling no fights with Whitaker. Like, yo, Whitaker, what's up, dude? I'll whoop your ass. Come up, get that belt. You know, he wanted to fight Bisping. Maybe it's, what is it, not the money fight? He don't want to fight. He might want to fight Whitaker for the second belt, but he don't say that shit that often. I don't know about it. I ain't never heard Woodley just, yo, I'll beat up Whitaker. I ain't heard him saying nothing like that. Gastelum, let's say all that to get here. Gastelum and Woodley already fought, and Woodley won. So if Gastelum upsets Whitaker, Gastelum's the champion. Woodley's already fought him and beat him. Here's the fucking kicker. Gastelum missed weight by about 10 pounds going into that fight. That's unheard of. Even in 2018, now it's 2019, even in 2017, in the fucking era of missing weight in the UFC and all this madness, more missing weight than ever. No one misses weight by fucking 10 pounds. Someone misses weight by 5 pounds, you're like, all right, you fucking, you might, especially if it's a grappler, like, oh, that's a douchebag move. You douchebag, like, you're gonna miss weight by 5 pounds and out wrestle this guy, like, that's a fucking something you look down. 10 fucking pounds! Gastelum missed weight against Tyron Woodley. Don't get the credit, you guys. I talked a little bit earlier about he don't get the same, like, people aren't going to be as willing to fight him because not only is he not as big of a money fight, also he can fucking knock you out. As to where back in the day, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me pull up George St. Pierre's record. Like, it's extremely impressive, but let me show you what I'm talking about. Because I seen Ariel Helwani, I believe, in Chael Sonnen on Ariel Helwani and the Bad Guy, and Chael was making the case that GSP is, for sure the greatest welterweight of all time. And, there's only really two people that come to my mind, GSP and Woodley. But, of course, there's the Matt Hughes and the guys. But look at GSP's record. This is why he gets the nod according to Ariel Helwani. And it is a very valid case, very valid point. But I would argue just, for Tyron Woodley, playing devil's advocate. I'm just going to play devil's advocate. So you look at GSP's record. And one of the reasons that he's considered one of the greatest welterweights of all time, like when you look at these guys, Dan Hardy, Thiago Alves, Josh Koscheck, Jake Shields, Condit, a lot of these guys are great fighters, but if you're newer to the sport, you don't know much about these guys, because they're the yesterday's fighters. And not to be disrespectful or like make them seem like old, but what I'm saying is the sport evolves fucking daily. These were the fighters from 10 years ago, so the sport hadn't evolved as much as it is today. You got to think, now there's people growing up training MMA from a young age, and that's happening year by year by year by year. You got someone like Aaron Pico, who was a kid when he started, pretty much preparing for MMA in a sense. Like, he had the plan and the goal of being a mixed martial artist. He was a Golden Gloves boxer. He was a great wrestler. He's got skills that make him that a lot of these guys back in the day. You think about the Randy Coutures and stuff. He came in as a great mixed martial artist, but really a wrestler. He, like back in the day, it was people who had a strong discipline, but they weren't as mixed. Like, and so with that being said, yeah, these guys are impressive, and a lot of them are former UFC welterweight champions. Like Condit was interim. He beat Condit twice, and Hendrick's former champ. So that you count that as Bisping, former champion. You know what I'm saying? Diaz wasn't a champion. Jake Shields, I think, did he hold the belt for a second? Like, I mean, you got to go back. BJ Penn, former UFC champion, not the welterweight champion. John Fitch, Matt Serra. You know, like, it gets real dicey. But still, on paper, it's like, oh, GSP defended his belt 9 times, and 6 of them were UFC champions. Or he defended his belt, I don't know the exact record, 13 times, and 8 of them were former UFC world champions. Like, yeah, BJ Penn was a former world champion, but he was a little undersized in that fight, if I must say. You know, and Woodley's actually beaten today's best fighters on the planet. Number one contender after number one contender. You could argue these dudes, I mean, they're currently, Damian Maia's 7-fight winning streak. The different styles. Wonderboy, the karate master, beat him fucking twice. It's not like the company's on his side. He's not a huge money fight. He's not a huge draw. He's not the champion because the politics helped him in that way. He had to fucking get this opportunity, become the champion, defend this belt. Did it against Wonderboy. Then that was the karate guy. Then he had to fight Damian Maia. He had to fight the jiu-jitsu guy. He had to fight the brawler Robbie Lawler to get the belt. Like, all these different styles of martial arts, Woodley's boom, 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 knocking them out. And what more could you ask for in mixed martial arts? When you say styles make fights, it's like, okay, you're a striker. You might have a bad matchup against Wonderboy. Okay, you're a striker. You might have a bad matchup against Frankie Edgar. You know? Woodley's beaten the karate. He's beaten the jiu-jitsu. He's beaten the brawler. He's beat the oversized Muay Thai fighter Darren Till. Now he's fighting a fucking dangerous Nigerian nightmare hellish wrestler in Kamaru Usman. That's extremely fucking impressive. No one wants to fight that guy, Woodley, for a reason. When these super fight guys, you don't think Conor wants a third belt? You don't think if Nick Diaz was the 170-pound champion, Conor might have fought him? You don't think if GSP was the 170-pound champion, Conor would have fought him? He ain't trying to fight Woodley too much. Bisping, he wasn't trying to fight Woodley like that either. Like, yeah, I'll fight you. You're the welterweight champion. I definitely can't back down to you. But it's not even about him. Oh, he's not as big of a draw. No. Do you want that third belt? Fuck that. You get another belt, that's another champion in the least sense. It's a champion versus champion fight. Nunez is not a huge draw. Cyborg's not a huge draw. Like, yeah, she's bigger than Nunez, but she's not a huge draw. So, but it's a champ versus champ fight. That's the big deal. So fighting Woodley is a big deal, especially if you're going to be getting another belt coming up or something like that, you know? But people are a little more reluctant to fight Woodley. And like I said, a GSP is a bigger money fight, and he's probably not going to knock you out, you know, as viciously as Woodley might. Facts. GSP. Woodley's going to have to skyrocket his stock, and boy, ain't... he's on GSP's ass. He's like, oh, I got to raise my stock. This motherfucker's dropping a mixtape, getting in movies on TMZ with the fucking... everybody, he's getting in front of all these stars' eyes, doing big shit for the UFC, defending his belt. Stock. How much stock do I need, bro? I'm fighting on big cards. How much stock do I need, George? You still fighting? What's up? Yo, bro. Woodley, I mean, he gets shit because Dana White, you know, says he's boring, so everyone says he's boring. Oh, the Wonderboy fights are boring, but the first one was Fight of the Night at UFC 205. Not that one, all the other ones. The Robbie Lawler one? No, not that one. The boring fight was boring. Wonderboy's flashy. Woodley's boring. Motherfuckers. Now, on paper, I get the argument and GSP is the GOAT because he beat former champions. Hendricks, you know, Condit. But Woodley beat Condit. Woodley beat Koscheck, Dan Hardy. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's going to... respect to Dan Hardy. He's really great at what he does is commentating, but he's not going to beat Woodley. Alves, You know what I'm saying? He's not going to beat Woodley. It's BJ Penn. Don't fucking do that to my dude, BJ Penn. Fitch. Like, all of these fights, you could say Woodley could win. Matt Serra, you know what I'm saying? Like, GSP's the GOAT because of his reign. And on paper, he beat champions. But Woodley's making his fucking case. And if he goes up and fights the middleweight champion, I mean, he's literally on GSP's heels in that sense. He's fighting, knocking out some of the guys he fought. He's still currently actively fighting. He's beating the top contenders of today. He's raising his stock inside and outside the octagon. Eventually, you know, what are you coming back for? GSP, only winnable fights? Because it ain't just about stock anymore. Are you only wanting to fight Bisping and McGregor because you think you can beat them? And that's fair. That's fair. That's what, Floyd Mayweather would do. Yeah, I'm probably not, I don't want to risk losing and risking my legacy. Like, I'm not going to fight one of these young killers, but I'll fight somebody I can beat and make a lot of money. GSP could take the Floyd Mayweather route. But I would like to see Woodley versus GSP personally, because Woodley's doing a great job of making his case of greatest welterweight of all time by doing what he's doing now, not complaining. He's not campaigning or complaining for GOAT. He's fighting. I don't give a fuck. There's not much you could say at this point. Is he making, like, literally, he wanted to fight Covington. UFC's taking that away, giving him Usman. Is he saying, no, is he sitting out? I'm not going to fight Usman. I want a money fight. I'm not going to fight Usman. I want to fight Covington. He could for sure do that. He just fought not too long ago. I'll wait for Covington. I'm the champion. What are you guys going to do without me? You need me. You want to punish Colby? I want to fight Colby. Punish him after he fights me. If Woodley wanted to make a power play like that, you guys need title fights. I'll fight. Give me Colby. I think Woodley could make that call. Would it rub people the wrong way? He already rubs people the wrong way. But what's he fucking doing? Fighting Usman and ain't making much of a stink about it. Coordinate your ass whoopings. I gotta fight Darren Till on short notice? Fuck it. I thought there was an interim champion. That's a bigger fight. I gotta risk my Covington fight to fight Darren Till for you guys? Fuck it, I'll do it. Knocked him out. I gotta fight Wonderboy twice because they called the first fight a draw, even though I won the first fight more dominantly than I won the second fight, but the first fight was a draw. Had to fight Wonderboy twice. You guys think Maya 7-fight win streak, is he gonna submit me? Had to beat him. Darren Till, short notice, to fight him. Fucking, I'm supposed to fight Covington now. This is actually a potential money fight. I didn't get to get any money fights. Now we've got a fight to sell. Risked it with Till. I got to risk it again with Usman. There's no heat here. This isn't a big fight. Usman's not a crazy draw. And what's he doing? He's fucking fighting Usman. These are all the best fighters in the world he's fighting. And at the time, those were the best fighters in the world George St. Pierre was fighting. But those were the fighters of yesterday. You know what of last decade. Not yesterday, of last decade. The fighters of this decade are better than the fighters of last decade. Tyron Woodley is beating the best fighters of this decade. And now he's fighting Usman. He ain't complaining and he ain't campaigning. Then he's going to fight Covington probably. I mean, what more do you want from me? You know what I'm saying? He could be on his Soldier Boy shit. Tiger! But like GSP. GSP! But if he did that, that's not the way to go about it. You can't, say, do what Corey Anderson did, lay out these facts. Boom, 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 boom. You got to build your case first. But he's building his case. GSP was talking about the stock. He's raising his stock on top of all of that. Does he got to be on TMZ? Who gives a fuck? That's a big opportunity. Like, once you look past the gossipy, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big opportunity for a professional entertainer, which he is, who's got bigger aspirations than just being a fighter, which is actually really fucking smart and commendable. So, he's on TMZ. That's going to get him into a bigger movie. That's going to get him more connections out here where he needs these connections to make these power plays and set his family up, even if he don't get these money fights, even if these dudes don't want smoke. Even if, these money fights don't want to fight him because of, oh, no, his stock's not high. No, motherfucker, you don't want those problems, man. I'm going to call it like it is. You don't want those problems. People don't want those Woodley fucking problems, man. I'm keeping it real. I'm not trying to please nobody. If you ain't a Woodley fan, you don't want to hear that. I'm not no fucking Woodley simp or nothing like that, but I'm talking about as a fighter, people don't want those problems. These money fights don't want those problems. What Woodley's doing right now, he's been, when he wasn't injured, active as a champion, 4 title fights in fucking 12 months. Who does that? Fighters win the belt, take a year off, take 6 months off, injury, heal up, fucking tonsils, all type of shit. Nasal, all type of shit. Colby Covington, my nasals. Like, people don't want to, it's, I got to be 100. Like, but man, no. Woodley's fucking fighting. Tears labrum in the fight. Fucking, I'm keep fighting. Did people say, oh, he's tough? No, they said he's boring. Paige Van Zandt breaks her arm. She's so tough, man. Look at her. She's so tough. Woodley fucking tears his labrum. He's boring. You should have fucking swung your other arm. Go the fuck ahead, man, if that's you, man. I got the facts on my fucking side. Like, this ain't no bias. This ain't no fucking race shit. These are the facts, dog. And Woodley's a beast. He's one of the greatest welterweights of all time, and the only reason GSP gets the nod is because what he did in the past, but the past is the past, and this is the now. And by the way, GSP came back to fight Bisping. We need an interview. GSP, we need an interview. We need to know about Woodley. Is this stock? How high does this stock gotta get? Do you got a stock market folder we can see? Like, is there a stock number? Because he's doing a lot in the octagon and out the octagon. He's about to drop a whole motherfucking album on you niggas, music videos and everything. And straight out of like, he's building his brand. If he beats Usman, beats Covington, is his stock high enough now, George? Or do you only want to fight McGregor? Are you on your Mayweather tip? Pause. So, Woodley's a fucking beast. It is what it is, man. One of the greatest welterweights, and he ain't going to be able to prove it if these dudes don't want to fight him, that the casuals recognize as the greatest. He's never going to be the casual greatest because these casual goats don't want to fight him. The people, the people that the Nate Diaz's, the Nick Diaz's, the Conor McGregor's, the George St. Pierre's, the biggest stars of the sport don't want to fight him. Too much to lose, too risky. You might win, and I'm sure your fans think you will, but do you really want to risk it? Don't think so, because none of you are. So it is what it is. Fucking, let's move on, man. Woodley talking about fighting at 185. You already beat Gastelum with a 10-pound advantage, was 5 more pounds, and you get to add the weight. He beat Gastelum when he was 180. Now you get to be 185, bro. If Gastelum beats Whitaker, you might as well call Tyron Woodley the champ right now. But he's got to beat Usman first. Someone in the chat says Woodley's a complainer and he sucks. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, whatever, man. I get it. Okay, whatever. What's he complaining about? He's literally taking the fucking fights handed to him. He's complained one time in the past. Like, do you realize every fighter has complained? Conor McGregor has complained about the UFC. Oh, I want to pay like a owner. Every fucking fighter has complained at one point. You can't look at Woodley. Oh, he complained one time and had one boring fight, so therefore he's a boring complainer. That's people that just don't like Woodley. If you don't like Woodley, I'm not going to be able to convince you to like Woodley. I don't give a fuck if you like Woodley. I'm talking about him as a fighter. And actually that helps prove my point. The fact that people don't like Woodley is why he's not going to get recognition as the GOAT. Ever. Unless he gets to fight GSP. Doesn't matter if he beats Usman, Covington, fucking Till again, Usman again, Covington again. People are going to call GSP the GOAT and say, oh, look, he beat former champions. Yeah, well, the former champions don't want to fight Woodley. And you can't be a former champion if he keeps the belt and doesn't give you a chance to, you know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, let's move on. Talk about a few more current events, man. Stipe Miocic campaigning for a rematch ahead of Daniel Cormier's retirement date. Daniel Cormier is supposed to be retiring soon, but he wants to retire by his birthday. But Brock Lesnar fight, maybe on the rocks. John Jones got a fight scheduled for right before his birthday, so looks like Daniel Cormier's probably going to be fighting after his birthday. Now, how many fights? How many fights? Who knows? But if he fights more than once, Stipe wants that rematch. He wants to run it back. He was the former heavyweight champion. He set the UFC's heavyweight record for title defenses. Stipe Miocic was knocked out in the first round, but there was some controversy. There were some eye pokes. He got poked a little bit. DC got warned about those eye pokes in the fight. Stipe had an eye poke of his own. He's not innocent in that. He's not got knocked out. But having set that heavyweight title defense record, being the reigning defending champion, he wants a fucking rematch. And a lot of people want to see him get a rematch. Daniel Cormier right now, though, he's trying to get that paper. He said, what does he say? You're getting mad, I'm getting championship checks. I forgot what he said in that post-fight interview, man. What did he fucking say? You guys are getting mad, I'm getting rich. I don't know what he said. It was hilarious. But DC is on that money fight tip right now, man. He's at the top of his career. If these guys don't ever get it fucking twisted, every single one of these dudes essentially is a prize fighter. What that means is they fight for a prize. The prize being the biggest amount of money available. Unless you're like in Dubai and you're like fighting for some fucking Lamborghini. I would imagine that shit happens. I don't know. I've never been. But, fighting for a prize, the biggest prize possible, you put yourself in a position to fight for the biggest prize possible. And, I mean, if you're DC, honestly, thinking about it like that, why would you fucking retire now? You worked your whole point to get here. Now, no matter who you fight, you're the money fight. Like before, right? Only you versus John Jones sold. Now you versus Stipe sells, you versus Lesnar, you versus Daniel Cormier sells at this point. He's the champ. Is he going to sell as much as Conor? No, but he's a draw. And so, you sure you don't want to sell a few more pay-per-views before you go? You know what I'm saying? Get a few more fat checks. You only want one? Okay. Maybe you do your commitment to your family like, nah, I said I'm going to retire. I got to do it. But man, it would be hard to turn down, and nobody, you know what I'm saying? All right, fam, talk with the family one more year. It ain't going to make you a terrible fucking, father or husband because you want to make a few more millions before you retire in this last year. It could be the biggest year of your life. You might make fucking $20 million this year. You never did that. Like if you're talking about like Forbes highest earning and shit, right? Like this is your year. Don't retire. I'm just saying. So hopefully we'd see more fights out of DC. What will they be? John Jones, Brock Lesnar, maybe? Stipe Miocic? Stipe Miocic went to DC on Twitter and said March 20th is coming up quick. Let's settle this and get this fight on the books before you blow the candles out on that cake. You wanted to fight before your retirement? John Jones is booked. Lesnar might be with the WWE a little bit longer. What's up? I'm right here, baby. Stipe wants that rematch. He wants all the smoke on March 20th. I mean, I'm all the way down. If there's no other options for DC, let's go to Stipe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about not if there's no other options, but if there's no John Jones for that date, if there's no Brock Lesnar, we got to see that Stipe rematch. See how the fight plays out. I mean, it would be crazy if DC came out here and knocked him out in the first round again. Like, what the fuck? That would be wild. But I would love to see the rematch, though. So it's a potential fight we could see in the future. Holly Holm says Cris Cyborg deserves a rematch, but would love Amanda Nunes after UFC 235. You guys ready for the fucking plot twist, the mind fuck? Holly Holm goes on, if she beats Aspen Ladd, to fight Amanda Nunes, because honestly, that's been the girl that I've wanted to see Nunes fight. That's the last head on the snake. Holly Holm is the last head on the snake for Amanda Nunes. She beat Miesha Tate. She beat Ronda Rousey. Now she's even beat Cris Cyborg. By the way, she beat Valentina Shevchenko. What the? Amanda Nunes is a monster. She beat Valentina Shevchenko. Let me put these in order. She beat Miocic Tate. She beat Ronda Rousey. She beat she beat Cris Cyborg. She beat Valentina Shevchenko twice. The last head on the snake. The last woman, former champion, considered amongst everybody one of the greatest fighters, including the casuals. Always a #1 contender. Holly Holm. It's not Caitlin Vieira. It's not Aspen Ladd. It's not, insert new bantamweight challenger here. The last head on the snake is Holly Holm. I've wanted, after she beat all those other girls at bantamweight, even before she fought Cyborg, I was like, now I need to see Nunez versus Holm. That's what I want to see. But now she fucking beat Cyborg, who beat Holm. So it's like, of course you pick Amanda Nunes to win this fight, but not so fast. What if Nunez gets aggressive, tries to brawl with Holly Holm, and she gets fucking caught? That could have happened with Cyborg if she got aggressive. If Cyborg fought Holly Holm like she fought Nunes, she could have went to sleep against Holly Holm. But I think people look at Holly Holm more as a counter striker, so she was less aggressive. I mean, maybe she thought pressure would be better for Nunes. No one pressures Nunes. Nobody. Maybe that was her game plan. Nobody's able to put the pressure on Amanda Nunes, because if you're going to test her cardio as well, seriously, that could have been Cyborg's game plan. Like we were talking about Usman versus Woodley earlier. We never seen no one really be able to put that pressure on Woodley for 3 rounds and see how he looks in the 4th and 5th round. Who's put the pressure on Nunes? So if you're going to test her cardio, you have to put the pressure on her. You can't let her be efficient with her energy. You can't let her, go slow in the first 2 rounds. Not if you want to wear her out by the championship rounds. You got to come in there, try and clinch up with her, be aggressive. As to where Holly Holm, you don't want to be aggressive against her. You don't want to just charge in against her like you don't want to against Wonderboy. So, with that being said, Nunez versus Holm is a different fucking fight. Holly Holm can win that fight. It's going to sound crazy to some people because you're like, man, Holly Holm loses. Holly Holm fights championship fights. She fights championship caliber fighters. Yeah, she lost to who? Cyborg? Yeah, she lost to who? Nunez? Like, who'd she lose to? Not Nunez. But she's losing championship fights. GDR, close decision, title fight. Miocic Tate was winning that fight, submitted, last second comeback, was winning that fight. She could have literally won the Miocic Tate fight, won the GDR fight, and she would be looked at completely differently. So you look at styles making fights. If you're Nunez and you're aggressive and you charge in against Holly Holm, you can get put to sleep. Plot twist, what the fuck if Amanda Nunes, who is the GOAT, she's the GOAT right now. No ifs, ands, or buts. She's the women's GOAT right now. There's one last head on the snake, and that's Holly Holm. I want to see that fight. And how crazy would it fucking be? Oh my God, it would just throw a monkey wrench into the whole MMA solar system if Holly Holm beat fucking Amanda Nunes. What if Amanda Nunes, I'm the champ, she gets comfortable like Cyborg might have. Who knows? Maybe not. What if Nunes gets comfortable? I'm the champ. I did everything I want. She, having fun. Like, oh, I did it. She gets a little lackadaisical, takes her foot off the pedal, doesn't take Holly Holm seriously, and gets knocked the fuck out. What? I'm just saying, you guys, that's real potential. That's a real scenario. Someone says Nunez is not the GOAT. Man, whatever. Who is? Who's your female GOAT? Please tell me. And don't say somebody that she beat twice, please. Who's your female GOAT if not Nunez? Don't say someone she beat twice, and don't say someone she knocked out in 51 seconds, please. Please tell me your GOAT. And if you want to talk body of work, we're still talking Nunez. If you want to talk body of work, don't look at Cyborg's record if that's your GOAT. What, are we going to Valentina? Like, really? It's no ifs, ands, or buts. Right now, today, Amanda Nunes is the greatest female fighter of all time. The only girl in her way is potentially Holly Holm, who can win that fight. But right now, you look at a Nunes as, oh, she'll probably beat Holly Holm. Nunes is the favorite in that fight. She beat Cyborg, who beat Holly Holm. MMA math don't work like that. But she's beat everybody. So Nunes is the favorite, but this is MMA and anything can fucking happen. Let's see. I seen someone in the chat said Amanda Nunes is not the GOAT. You're crazy. Oh, that's Dennis Espinoza. I didn't even see who it was. Dennis Espinoza, you're crazy. GOAT is for body of work. Dennis Espinoza. Who has the best record and was undefeated the longest? What? The best record? It's not about your number record. Floyd Mayweather's 50-0. That don't mean he beat 50 of the toughest fighters every time he fought. One of those is against Conor McGregor. Amanda Nunes' resume is more impressive than Cyborg's. She beat Shevchenko twice. If you look at Cyborg, she hasn't fought. She fought Holly Holm, who's a bantamweight. Everyone she fought in the UFC was a bantamweight. And before the UFC, she was fighting not great competition. None of these girls are UFC level. I mean, these girls would not be bantamweight challengers in the UFC. This girl who she fought right before coming to the UFC, Daria Ibragimova, is 9-2. But if you look at her record, this 9 is padded. Her most recent win, this girl was on a fucking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She was on a 6-fight winning streak, and you know who she fought for her 7th fight? A girl that was 2-2. So this girl is 9-2, but that's not an impressive 9. This is a padded 9-2, and that's who Cyborg was fighting. Now, if you want to talk about impressive resumes, this is Cyborg, who's 145, and she's still one of the greatest fighters of all time. Do not get me fucked up. Cyborg's still one of the greatest fighters of all time, but she's not on Amanda Nunes' level. She's up there. She's one of, she's up there with Shevchenko. There's like a tier 1 and a tier 2. Tier 1 is Amanda Nunes. Tier 2 is Cyborg and Shevchenko. Tier 3 is everybody else. Nunes is tier 1. You want to look at resumes? Yana Kunitskaya, okay, impressive, but that was put together to save the card. Called up from Invicta. Tanya Evinger, called up from Invicta, put together to save the card. Lena Landsberg, not a featherweight. Holly Holm, legit because she's Holly Holm. But before the UFC, like, people talk about, oh, there's no 145 division, so there's no one for her to fight in the UFC, and that's completely fair. But if you look at her competition outside the UFC and you look into it, these girls are not world beaters by any means. Yeah, she might have went fucking 18-0, but against who? You know what I'm saying? Like, these girls are not the girls. Now I say that to look at Amanda Nunes' resume. Let's look at who Amanda Nunes has beat. She beat Raquel Pennington, Valentina Shevchenko, Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate, Valentina Shevchenko, Sarah McMahon. These are legitimate UFC caliber fighters. Shayna Baszler, Kat Zingano, yeah, she lost that fight because she got tired. She was winning that fight. Jermaine Durandamy, UFC title challenger. These are legitimate wins. Outside the UFC, Alexis Davis, Julia Budd, Edion Gomez, Vanessa Porto. Her resume is better than Cyborg's, unless you want to say, oh, she lost. She lost because she was fighting better competition. She was being more active down here as well. I mean, how many fights? 17-4 over how many years? 2008, over 10 years, 17-4, 2005, 20-2. So how many more pro fights is that? So she's got 21 pro fights in 10 years. Cyborg has 22 pro fights in 13 years. So she's been more active than Cyborg throughout her career, fighting tougher competition, and she knocked her out in 51 seconds. So Nunes is clearly the GOAT over Cyborg, and if you want to go Shevchenko, she already beat her twice. Only girl that stands a chance right now over Nunes to stop her claim to the absolute GOAT set in stone is Holly Holm. She's the only girl that could slow this train down unless it's mother time. Father time. That's the only person that can slow Amanda Nunes down at this point. I mean, even in a rematch, it's 50-50 for me with Cyborg. She's got a chance, but Nunes, I feel like, is the better fighter if you actually look into the resumes. Cyborg might have size on her, but she didn't even have that much of a size advantage at the weigh-ins because Nunes properly trained, took the time, and prepared for the fight. And now we see why she wanted this time. What do you think Cyborg does to Pennington or to Tate? Well, we'll never know because she can't make 135 like Nunes can, which means Nunes is a smaller fighter in a sense. But that doesn't change. Okay, let me flip that around. What do you think Nunes would do to fucking Ibrugimov? Let's go back to Cyborg's record. Let me flip that right back around on you. Because it's not Nunes' fault she can make the weight. It's not Cyborg's fault she can't make the weight. So it's not Cyborg's fault there's not tough competition for her to fight at her weight class. She's just fighting at a weight class where there's no competition. None of these girls are on Cyborg's level. Let me ask you this. What do you think Amanda Nunes would do to Yoko Takahashi? What do you think Amanda Nunes would do to this girl? What do you think Amanda Nunes would do to Daria Ibragimova, who's got like how many credible wins? What do you think Amanda Nunes would do to Faith Van Duen? This is who Cyborg fought before the other girl who had a padded record, right? 9-2, kind of padded. The girl was 9-2, and her most recent win was a girl that was 2-2. This girl, Faith Van Duen, is 6-3. When she fought Cyborg, she was 5-1. And Cyborg at that point was what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Cyborg was 12-1 and fought a girl that was fought a girl that was 5-1. So she's been fighting girls that were not on her level her entire career. Is that her fault? No, it's because she's too big. But Nunes is on her level. Amanda Nunes is one of the first girls Cyborg has fought, aside from maybe Holly Holm, that was on her level. In the UFC, we know they're not on her level because they're bantamweights and because they got called up on short notice. All these girls before the UFC, they're not better than the girls in the UFC. Gina Carano, she got called back. She hadn't fought for about a year. She kind of got called out of retirement a little bit to fight Cyborg. But she was only 7-0 when she fought Cyborg. Like, where are the Valentina Shevchenkos on Cyborg's record? Where are... even if people aren't going to give Raquel Pennington her credit, but she's got way more UFC experience than a lot of these girls. People talk about Miesha Tate because what Amanda Nunes did to her, but Miesha Tate's got fucking heart. Did you see how she beat Holly Holm by taking that ass whooping, showing her jiu-jitsu skills, being great at jiu-jitsu? Yeah, Miesha Tate can't take that power from Amanda Nunes. Who the fuck can? Neither can Cyborg. No one can. But you can't say, what would Cris Cyborg do to these girls without saying, well, what would Nunes do to any of these girls? What would Nunes do to Lena Landsberg? What would Nunes do to Leslie Smith? What would Nunes do to Daria Ibragimova, who don't even go to her? So Nunes is the GOAT, and records show it. Records prove it. She's been more active throughout her career. She beat Cyborg. She beat Shevchenko twice. It's really not even close at this point. Could she win the rematch? Sure. But that doesn't change the resumes. Like I said, it's not Cyborg's fault. She hasn't fought the toughest competition because she can't make 135 and there's no 145-pound division established. Cyborg's still one of the greatest female fighters of all time in the sense that she beat all of these girls. You don't beat all of these girls with just size. She still has more skills than a lot of girls, but is she better than Amanda Nunes? No. She's still better than Yana Kunitskaya. She's still better than Tanya Evinger. She's still better than Holly Holm, which is the most impressive. The fact that Cris Cyborg is better than Holly Holm still shows she's one of the greatest female fighters of all time. But that doesn't mean you're better than Amanda Nunes, especially if you look at resumes. I mean, we can look at Nunes' resume one more time. Valentina Shevchenko, Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate, Jermaine Durandamy, Alexis Davis, Kat Zingano. Look at these tough fights. Julia Budd. I mean, you're not clicking her shit like, oh, who's Alexis Davis? Who is this girl? Oh, she's really fucking good, actually. Wow. Like, you would be hard pressed to go to Cyborg's resume and click a girl and be like, oh, she's a beast. GDR, we know about her striking. We know what she's capable of. We know she's a former UFC world champion. Even Idian Gomez, even Julia Budd, who's the current Bellator champion, like, she fought those girls earlier in her career, and it don't get easy. She didn't go undefeated. If this girl's name was Yakasha Mushashu, I bet you that's a win. If she fought Yushikashimu right here instead of Alexis Davis. If she got, you know what I'm saying? And if this was, I don't even know who this is. I'm sure she has a winning record. But if this was some girl, in Strikeforce that had a losing record, or not a losing record, but had a 9, it was fucking 5-1. Nunez probably, these would be wins if she had easier matchmaking, but she didn't. And to be fair, maybe in the past, by the way, in the past, Cyborg was probably better. In 2008, Cyborg was a better fighter than Nunez, because Cyborg had been fighting for 3 years at that point, and Nunez was new to the game. But the thing about Nunez is the thing that she gets criticized for is actually why she probably is better than Cyborg now. She got criticized for being a Kurianch and going to American Top Team. Well, that's probably why she's better than Cyborg. She's got a better fight team now. American Top Team produces champions. They've got a lot of champions and legitimate world-class fighters they train with. And that's why training with the American Top Team is going to make you better as a fighter. So training with the American Top Team for 5 years is going to help you surpass the Cyborgs of the world. So maybe in the past she wasn't better than Cyborg, but through strength of competition and fighting the highest level fighters and training with the American Top Team, she has eclipsed Cyborg. 2010, it was Cyborg's world. 2012, it was probably still Cyborg's world. But 2018, Amanda Nunes has surpassed the level Cyborg ever was. In her prime, Cyborg's prime, when is that? Is that today or is that 2013? When would you consider her prime? Is Cyborg's prime when she was fighting the girls that were 9-2 questionably? Or when she was fighting the girls that were 5-1? Or is her prime today? Because if her prime's today, Amanda Nunes' prime is better than her prime. Amanda Nunes Cyborg probably was better than Nunes at one point, but Nunes has become better. And so Nunez, to me, is the clear GOAT. It's not very debatable if you're using facts. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just use facts, it'd be pretty easy to argue Amanda Nunes is the GOAT. And the only head left on the dragon to cut off is Holly Holm. If she beats Holly Holm, there's not even a debate. You can't even debate it. But Holly Holm's got to fight Aspen Ladd to potentially get a title shot, and that's a tough fight. We've seen Aspen Ladd finish Tanya Evinger. Cyborg finished Tanya Evinger, so, I mean, Cyborg and Aspen Ladd have that in common. But with that being said, Holly Holm says Cris Cyborg deserves a rematch, but she would love to fight Amanda Nunes. And she's, being respectable Holly Holm, saying what's right, but at the same time, I'm sure she would like to get a crack at Amanda Nunes while she's the champ, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, Cyborg does deserve a rematch. But Cyborg deserves a rematch in the sense that every champion deserves a rematch. Like, if you think every champion deserves a rematch, then Cyborg deserves a rematch. But in the sense of UFC rematches, Cyborg doesn't really deserve a rematch if you look at the UFC. Because she wasn't the, reigning. She didn't have like 10 UFC title defenses. Stipe Miocic, who broke the record with the 3 title defenses. Cyborg, I think she had 3 title defenses. She got the belt from GDR handed to her because GDR didn't want to fight her. So, who were her title defenses? She didn't even legitimately win the belt. She defended the title against Lena Landsberg, Tanya Evinger, Holly Holm, and Kunitskaya. So she defended the belt 4 times. 2 of them short notice opponents. She defended the belt 4 times. And she for sure broke the record for female featherweights. The longest active reigning defending, like Stipe did in that sense, but there wasn't a record to be broken. If you want to say she got knocked, Dana White has used this in the past. He got knocked out in the first round. He doesn't deserve a rematch. Like, the only argument for Cyborg getting a rematch is if you're like, well, we have seen some champions get rematches, right? Joanna got a rematch and Cody Garbrandt got a rematch. But if you think about both of them, they're both more favored by the UFC. Anyone actually like Cyborg, on the other hand, if you think about Luke Rockhold, if you think about TJ Dillashaw, the UFC is not behind them because they're not huge draws. And so they're not dying to give them a rematch. They don't see the potential in them to sell pay-per-views and sell seats. This is a business. If you're not going to be selling the most pay-per-views, we're not going to try and keep the champion as long as we can, because the UFC knows if you've got a popular fighter like Conor McGregor that's your champion that can talk shit and sell fights and looks good for the cameras, they're going to sell more tickets, sell more pay-per-views, do better business. So when you got a clean-cut TJ Dillashaw that doesn't talk much trash, or Luke Rockhold who doesn't talk much trash and might have fucked your girl, you know what I'm saying? If you get on the UFC's wrong side, then they can make it harder for you to get that rematch, and they kind of dictate that. Luke Rockhold, they said he didn't deserve a rematch because he got knocked out in the first round. But on the exact opposite, TJ Dillashaw didn't get an immediate rematch, and he fought to a split decision. So if you're a champion, do you have to fight to a split decision or get knocked out in the first round to get a rematch? Because if you look at TJ Dillashaw and Luke Rockhold, one of them was knocked out in the first round, one of them was a split decision. So that's not an excuse for an immediate rematch either, because it's the exact opposite result. And neither one of them got an immediate rematch. Why? Because they don't sell buku pay-per-views. They don't have that potential, I guess, to sell buku pay-per-views. Now, if you look at Cody Garbrandt and Joanna, they both actually got knocked out in the first round and got rematches. Why? They're probably bigger stars than the champions that were fighting. They thought Cody Garbrandt could sell more pay-per-views than TJ Dillashaw. They thought Joanna put her in her what she had already put into the sport, being all her legacy, having that legacy, being one of the greatest female fighters of all time, and doing the UFC favors as far as defending your belt, being active, not putting up much of a stink, and all of that shit, towing the company line. You get that immediate rematch. You don't give the UFC too many problems, too many headaches. You're good for the company. You can get that immediate rematch. But Cyborg doesn't fit those lines, right? It's kind of the opposite. If you look at Cyborg's relationship with the UFC, you think it's kind of like torn. It's not the greatest. So definitely don't see her getting that immediate rematch, and that's exactly what it would take to prove you're better than Amanda Nunes, because if you're just looking at your resume, that's not going to do it, and if you're looking at the results of your fight, that's not going to do it. Only way to clear this up is to get that immediate rematch, and Nunez doesn't seem, or the UFC seem to be too interested in that. But Cyborg's still one of the greatest female fighters of all time, but it's kind of in the sense that WMMA wasn't as evolved. The women she's fought weren't as skilled as a lot of, other girls as girls are now. And there's definitely no featherweights that are as skilled as her. And all of that goes to the point that Kayla Harrison had a real chance of beating Cyborg, like I've been fucking saying. I was saying that before I even dissected Cyborg's resume. Like, what? None of these girls she's fought are going to be near as good as Kayla Harrison, who's training with the American Top Team. None of these girls. Fucking who? Daria? What? No disrespect to her, but I'm saying this record is 9-2. She was 9-1 when she fought Cyborg. Look who she was fighting, though. A girl that was 2-0. A girl that was 2-2. This girl's building her record fighting girls that have never fought before. This is like a boxer's record. And then you fight Cyborg. You're fighting fucking newbies, brand new. You're fighting, newcomers. You're fighting fucking newcomers. Now you're fighting Cyborg. That's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, Cyborg was literally supposed to win every one of those fights. Now you get to the UFC, the competition steps up, but they're not your size. You get to the legitimate champion, and you get knocked out in 51 seconds. And even Cyborg's coach, Jason Perillo, came out and said that Cyborg, he said, that's not going to work at the highest level. He said, I didn't want her to come out here and brawl. That's one of the things I've always feared. You know, at the highest level, you can't get away with just brawling. When you're fighting girls like Daria Imbragimova, Faith Van Duen, Charmaine Tweet, all of these girls, you can get away with just brawling and knocking them out because they're not on your level. They're not on your skill level. It's pretty much not padding your record. This would be a padded record, but the only difference is there was no competition. It's not like Cyborg was ducking anybody. She was just better than everybody because she was just at a way higher level than everybody. It's like Michael Jordan, would have been before the NBA if he was just playing like street ball. He's fucking crushing these guys. They're not professionals. He's killing these dudes on the street court. But when you go to the pros, he's still killing them because it's Michael Jordan. But it's a different story because the level of competition is up there. Now you're not winning 21-0 every time you play. Now it's 21-18. Now it's a closer fight. But none of these girls that Cyborg fought earlier in her career were on her level. All the way up until 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15-1, and yeah, when Cyborg was a newcomer, these girls were on her level. Vanessa Porto, Chris Schroeder, Erica Pais, Elaine Santiago de Lima, but because that's when Cyborg was still new. Cyborg, when she's 2-1, it makes sense to fight somebody that's 0-0. When you're 4-1, you can fight someone that's 2-2. But when you get up to fucking 12-1, sweetie, you can't fight somebody that's 2-2. You can't be 14-1 fighting somebody that's 2-2. Especially when your fans give Kayla Harrison shit, and she's fighting girls that are fucking experienced. The girls Kayla Harrison is fighting in her first and second and third fight are better than the girls Cyborg was fighting in her fucking 14th fight. And people give Kayla Harrison shit? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, no. Like, Cyborg was a great fighter, but she's not invincible. And Nunez shown that. It wasn't a fluke by any means. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Cyborg was just better than everybody when she was coming up. Kind of like Fedor, right? Like, yeah, he was better than everybody like 15 years ago. But you know what I'm saying? If he were to fight Stipe today, it probably wouldn't go his way. Or Fedor's a little more in his prime or out of his prime, than Cyborg, who's still a little in her prime. But yeah, she was beating all those girls, outside the UFC, not on her level. But if she fought Nunez 10 times, Nunez wins 5 or 6 of them. Maybe 7. Shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's just, I think, facts at this point. But we got a few more fights to talk about before we get out of here. Lightweight standouts, Edson Barboza, Justin Gaethje, and Edson Barboza and Justin Gaethje targeted for a March fight. In this fight, we've talked about it a little bit on the show, but now it's actually kind of materializing. Great fight. 2 lightweight bangers. The most dangerous leg kicks in the division. That title's on the line. Used to be Edson Barboza. Justin Gaethje has made his own case for it recently. 2 phenomenal lightweights in one of the most stacked UFC divisions. Cannot wait for this fight. I don't know what card it's going to be on, but we'll all be watching. We already talked about Holly Holm. We also have Leon Edwards wants Darren Till at UFC London, clowning on Jorge Masvidal's posturing. Leon Edwards, a very tough welterweight fighter, just came off that win over Donald Cerrone. Trying to get his name out there, trying to get a higher ranked opponent. I'll fight, he's from the UK. I'll fight Darren Till, headline, and he's kind of clowning Jorge Masvidal. I would imagine he's taking shots at him being on a reality show, but I haven't seen it yet. He said, I think that the best fight for London is obviously me and Darren Till, but for some reason, either him or the UFC don't want to make it happen. Is the UFC saving Darren Till again?
I thought they were kind of off that when they threw him at fucking Woodley. Maybe they're back on it. I I say that because if you recall, Darren Till was like, "I'll fight Usman. I'll fight anybody. Give me anybody." And the UFC told Usman, "We got other plans for him," and they gave him Wonderboy, right? So they kind of were saving him from himself in that sense, and so maybe Leon Edwards isn't the right opponent for them. Maybe they're not as interested in build. You know whatever the reason is, they're not booking Leon Edwards versus Darren Till, and he wants to fight. He said, "I think that 100% is the best fight for the UK fans. I've been calling for this fight since last March when I last fought in London, and I've been calling him out ever since. I mentioned it to the UFC as well through my management. They've been working on it too, trying to make the fight, but for some reason he doesn't want it. He claims to be one of the best welterweights in the UK. I know I'm one of the best welterweights in the UK. I feel like that should be sorted out in London in the main event. It's ridiculous because I've been calling both of them out for quite a while now, talking about Masvidal and Till. First of all, Masvidal said he wouldn't come to the UK. Now I'm seeing this shit today about him and Darren. At this stage, it's just bullying. I'm trying to bully and force these guys into fighting me. I'll say it again. The best fight for the UK is me versus Darren. Masvidal doesn't even matter in the UK. Nobody knows him there. I might beg to differ there. But he says, I think he thinks he matches up better stylistically with Masvidal coming off a loss. He wants to get a win. If a man was calling me out and he was saying, let's go, and it made sense, I would do it. I can't tell you what's in his head or what he's thinking, but as I said, I'm ready for the fight. I'm training toward the fight, but if I don't get it, I'll take a fight against someone who else is pushing me towards the title. Masvidal's on a 2-fight losing streak. He's been doing that fucking TV show and all sorts. I knew it was coming. He said all these guys, for some reason, they don't want to come to the UK, but they want the UK guys to go to the States and fight them. I don't know if there will be trouble getting a ranked opponent, but I'll take whoever leads me to the title. At the end of the day, my goal is a world title. I deserve a highly ranked opponent or at least a big name opponent to lead me to where I want to go. For me to go back and fight someone in the top 20, it makes no sense to me. So Leon Edwards laying out his case. He wants a big fight, and he gets it. Ahead of his fight with Donald Cerrone, he was called, selling the fight, building the fight, talking about stating this case. Yo, I'm young in my prime. This dude's, a little past his prime. This is a bad fight for him. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna beat him. I'm gonna beat him bad. He let him know. I think he said it a little more disrespectful than that because I was even kind of team Cerrone in that fight. Like, bro, like I know Donald Cerrone don't even do great whenever he's in a bad state of mind ahead of his fight. But some of the shit he was saying, like, I was like, man, I want to see Donald Cerrone get this win because he was saying some shit like, Donald Cerrone past his prime fight, he's washed up and all type of shit. I was like, he ain't all the way past his prime, bro. He just fights everybody, even the tough matchups, which is why you're getting this fight. So put a little more respect on his name. But Leon Edwards, is helping sell the fight and also potentially against Donald Cerrone. If he doesn't do great against opponents who get in his head, you might want to try and get in his head a little bit. So he gets a little past there. And now he's just trying to call his shots. They say if you call your shots, it might help. If you call them out on the octagon, it helps you get the fight. Yeah, it does help, but not always. Kevin Lee called out Khabib for a while, never really got that opportunity. Leon Edwards, Usman's called people out. There's some fighters who call people out on the microphone and still don't get the fights, but it does help a little. And Leon Edwards has been trying to do what he can to make noise in the UFC's welterweight rankings. Kat Zingano gonna uphill her TKO loss to Megan Anderson at UFC 232. Awkward loss. She just got kicked in the eye, and there was a cut above her eye, kind of being worried about her vision and shit. The fight got called off, but it was a really strange injury. As far as like a cut to the eyelid, no serious damage. I don't think, though, she can get this appealed because I recall, if I'm not mistaken, even after the fight, she came out and she said some shit like, hey, I was worried about my eyesight, so, like, I didn't even want to continue fighting, like, because she was worried about, further damage. She don't know how bad the cut is on her eye, and if it's on her eyelid, like, if you got kicked in the eye and there's a cut right there, yeah, and the doctors come in and look at the cut on your eyelid, you want to protect your vision and shit. So, she's gonna appeal that TKO loss, but I don't think it'll get overturned. I think we got one more thing to talk about. Jennifer Maia drawn a 6-month suspension for a contaminated supplement, and I think this is with the new USADA. How they don't announce it anymore when you get flagged, and not until it's pretty much comes to a conclusion. So Jennifer Maia, she drew the 6-month suspension, but it dated back to actually, like, I think August. I think they said she's cleared to fight as early as March. Let's see. Okay, it says Maia's punishment after an out-of-competition conducted August 2nd, 16th, came back positive for a cocktail of banned substances. Damn! She was on a few things. The UFC's but she wasn't on a few things. The few things were in her system because it was contaminated supplements, so it was actually not like something she didn't do it to cheat. They actually tested supplements, and they came back with ingredients that weren't on the bottle. So she was actually one of the people that got found innocent. Maya's suspension, she didn't snitch on somebody to get out of this. She didn't fucking send in 14 supplements and none of them were contaminated. No, they found the contaminated supplement. She didn't have to tell on anybody. She's just back because she's innocent. The positive test that halted Maya's career revealed the presence of firmicide, hydrochlorothiazide, chlorothiazide, and the thiazide metabolite 4-amino-6-chloro-1,3-benazunafenamide. That's like 5-6 different fucking things. She said they said they are specified substances in the class of diuretics and masking agents and carry a 1-year suspension for first-time offenders. A subsequent investigation traced the substances to a dietary supplement Maya was using at the time of her test. None of the substances found in her sample were advertised on the supplement label. USADA determined her ingestion was accidental and issued a reduced sanction of 6 months while also putting the product she took on a list of high-risk supplements. So, a supplement she was using, like, let's just say fucking, you know what I'm saying, like creatine, for example, she was taking it. This shit came in her system. She gave them her bottle of creatine. They tested it. The shit was in there. They went to the store, got the exact same flavor of the shit she got, tested it. It was in there. It was not her fault because she just bought that shit from the GMC. She's innocent. Boom. Be careful with what you put in your body. You're only getting 6 months instead of a year. You didn't cheat, but it was in your system. John Jones, on the other hand, sent in 14 fucking creatines, and none of them were contaminated. But that's another topic for another day. But with that being said, Jennifer Maia, 6-month suspension, but she'll be allowed to fight in March, I believe. She was found innocent pretty much by USADA. So with that being said, only thing left to close on is fucking UFC Wichita, you guys. It's going down. Derek Lewis versus Junior Dos Santos. They're actually on Google's UFC schedule. They actually have a more detailed list of the fights because it's UFC Fight Night 146. Beneil Dariush versus Drew Dober. Anthony Martin versus Sergio Moraes. Holy shit, we found out at the earlier in the show if you didn't see that. The fact that Anthony Martin is going to be fighting at this card that I'm going to be at live, I'm a fan of Anthony Martin, but his girl is Kayla Harrison, who's always in his corner, which means I might actually be in the same fucking vicinity as Kayla Harrison. Holy shit. Fanned out a little bit earlier on the show. With that being said, hopefully they do a meet and greet and I can get like a drop or an autograph from Anthony Martin. Then I can be like, yo, and by the way, bro, huge fan of Kayla Harrison as well. #1 defender, not defender, kind of awkward, but you know what I'm saying? I think she got a chance to beat Cyborg. A lot of people counting her out on a fight tip. Yo, if I could get a Kayla Harrison drop, it would kill the whole game. That would be crazy. Benji says Shayna Baszler lost every fight in the UFC and tough. Wasn't she on Cyborg's record? Or no? Yeah, she fought Shayna Baszler. Cyborg, that's what I'm saying. Like any of these girls. Maurice Vittoria, 0-1. And see, this is the shit when I'm saying when I'm talking about Kayla Harrison. In Cyborg's first fight, she lost. That's a different story. And she fought a girl that was 0-0. Her second fight, she fought a girl that was 3-1. Okay, that's impressive. You beat a girl that's 3-1. Not 8-2 like Josette Cotton, but 3-1. And it's the early days of MMA. It's probably, you know, like a soccer mom at that point. Because, you know, it's just tough girls who are fighting, but they're not even half as evolved as they are today. Like in 2000, like WMMA is still catching up. Can you imagine how far WMMA was behind in 2005? You know what I'm saying? Like Chris Schroeder, what was her resume? What was her record? 0-0. Kayla Harrison, on the other hand, 3-4. That's 7 pro fights. 8-2. That's 10 pro fights. 3-4. That's 7 pro fights. Let's add that up. What is that? 10 plus 14, 24. So she's fought opponents with a combined 24 fights experience in her first 3 fights. Cyborg, this girl had 0 fights. That girl had 4 fights. This girl had 0 fights. In Cyborg's first 3 fights, she fought girls with combined experience of 4 pro fights. Kayla Harrison, 24 pro fights. So different levels to this shit. She's training with the American Top Team. None of these girls could test Cyborg's striking, let alone fucking grappling. They're not on her level. Amanda Nunes is. Kayla Harrison will be. And with that being said, I think that's a good way to end the show. Salute to the full-time family, man. It's like 4:30 in the morning my time. Probably going to go to sleep and wake up and have to get right to work. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm a night owl on this shift. So, salute to you guys. With that being said, full-time need that nighttime smoke. Man, I'm done smoking, bro. I'm on a whole new tip. I'm on like a whole fucking UFC Wichita kick. I got to save I'm saving my money up because tickets are on sale. And I wanted to be able to buy tickets in time to go with my friend who's going. But we're not going to be able to buy our tickets together because he's about to buy his shit like tomorrow. And I can't afford mine tomorrow. But I'm gonna get some tickets to this shit, bro. Lewis versus Dos Santos. Like I just need to save up and get shit taken care of anyway. Dennis Espinosa says no one had that many fights back then. Yeah, she was just fighting girls that weren't on her level because no one had that much experience. You know, no one had that many fights back then, and that's why it's not as impressive as today. But yeah, man. With that being said, guys, it is what it is, man. I think it's been a good show. Been good talking to you guys. Thank you guys for coming through to this live chat at this hour. Salute to the family and let the full-time family know what you think in the comments.